Imagination is everything, bro. It really is. It's everything. Everything you see around you was once someone's imagination. Like everything you've done, you've come from the other side of the world here, and everything you've built here and you're doing very well, it all started in your imagination. And so, knowing that, how can you not be fascinated by it?
I think about this a lot. Every single thing that I physically have manifested in my life, it came from the mental seed, the idea. It was nothing but a thought, a feeling, and perhaps a knowing that it could be done. And then brick by brick, it becomes reality. Welcome back to the James Xander Trip with your host, James Xander. Today's guest is someone few people know by design. He's elusive, hard to pin down. He's been off of social media for the last few years, and this is the first time he's stepped into a podcast space. Yet behind that mystery lies one of the sharpest, wisest minds I've ever encountered. We first met through my Unlock God Mode program. We bonded over imagination, consciousness, the power of the mind. Somewhere along the way, I had the joy of nudging him into his very first mushroom experience. Since then, every conversation we've had has stretched my mind, sparked new insights, and deepened my perspective. He's a rare soul, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. Musa, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, James. Very good intro.
I want to start with your core values, because I think one's values reveal one's character. Tell me about the values that have shaped your life and continue to shape your life, and how honoring your personal code of values is important to you.
So, I believe we all move from our core values. It's excellent you want to start here. To answer your question, I believe our core values are shaped by voids we've had maybe ever since our childhood. So the biggest voids leads to our biggest values. Or you could say childhood deprivation leads to adult dreams and aspirations. And so for me, my biggest value is freedom. That is number one. If I have to give you a top three, it's going to be freedom, growth, and family. And so everything I do is in alignment in some way, shape, or form with these three values.
I love what you said about the childhood. So it's like your greatest wound becomes your greatest aspiration, your greatest gift.
Yes. Think about anyone that's been bullied.
Yeah.
And how much they value being strong or peace, or they become maybe a great fighter or whatever it may be. Someone that grew up in poverty, they may value riches or wealth. And someone that may have felt restricted or suppressed or oppressed may value freedom more than anyone else.
Did you feel a lack of freedom growing up?
Yes.
What did it feel like to finally attain freedom? How does that look like in your day-to-day life?
On one hand, I feel very free right now. I mean, look at where we are. I mean, we're the only ones that can see it. We're not doing this with any cameras, but we're at my villa looking at a fucking jungle. I got coconuts in the trees right here. So I feel very free every day, very grateful every day I wake up. At the same time, I feel like I'm always chasing more freedom and linking this to my goals. So I'm telling myself whatever goal I set, whether it's a financial goal, it doesn't matter what goal it is. I always tell myself it's for more freedom, and I convince myself it's for more freedom. And so when I do that, I'll link my goals to my highest values, and it gives me unlimited drive.
It's a bit of a paradox because you're already free in this moment. So you know that when you're linking it to your goals, in some sense, you've already achieved it. But you put that value as the driving force behind it.
Yes.
You've been in ghost mode, as you call it, for a few years. Describe that period of your life and what was behind the decision to go off of social media and go into your own ghost mode.
I have to think how to answer this question because I can go very deep on this. I'm not sure if I want to go too deep because it might take too long, but it all started in 2020 when COVID hit. And basically I got a brutal reality check. You see, before COVID, I was very comfortable. I was what you would call a big fish in a small pond. I made some money. I had bum friends. I'm just going to be honest. I had bum friends. I made some money and I felt like I'm the guy out here, you know? Then COVID hit. Everything got locked down. And it felt like I just got a brutal reality check. Like, oh, you ain't shit. Like,
why was that specifically around COVID?
Because of, do you remember how people started power tripping?
Yeah.
How they started like, oh, put your mask on, do this, do that, with their finger in your face and everything. And
yeah, totally.
I think the first moment where I realized, oh, I'm at the bottom of the barrel is when I was in a flight during COVID and things got heated in this flight with like a steward because I had not put my mask on. I had not put my mask on over my nose. I had it over my mouth. I didn't have it over my nose. And basically she lost her shit and she started to threaten me to call her supervisor and get me kicked out of the plane and so on and so forth. And
it's amazing how we've forgotten conveniently all those moments of aggression during those years.
Brother, I haven't forgotten.
That's right.
It's tattooed in my mind, bro. I swear. But basically after this flight, I started journaling about it. Like, oh wait, why did I get treated like that? Like almost inhumane. Why did I get treated like that? And I came to the conclusion, like, you've been feeling like a big fish in a small pond, but you're not shit. If you were able to afford, and this may very well be bullshit, but if you were able to afford business class or even flying private or whatever, you would not have to deal with this. You got treated like this by the steward, like 5'5" woman screaming in your face about a fucking face mask while in the background people are eating and drinking and laughing and whatever. You got treated like this because of your position in life. And that's when I came to the conclusion, like, okay, fuck all this. I gotta make money. I gotta become a millionaire. Fuck all the distractions. And from that moment, I deleted everything, all my socials, and I just locked in. That's when ghost mode started for the very first time.
And what happened next? Walk us through your journey.
Well, the first thing that happens when you go offline off of everything, and I'm not just talking about going offline, but I'm talking about limiting all the cheap little dopamine and really being with yourself, is that you get confronted with things you did not address. I'm talking, you may have traumas, you may have just suppressed things, emotional blocks, these things come up first. So as much as I was driven and angry and pissed off and I wanted to become a millionaire and whatever, the first things that came up actually were things from my childhood, which I had to face. After facing that, I feel like I healed myself and I just locked in and all I did was work. I cut everyone off. And that's it. I just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and stopped talking to friends and realized they weren't even my friends. I suppose to answer your question, have you ever spent a long duration of time in solitude?
Yeah. But maybe not to the degree that you've done it. And it actually inspires me to hear your story because I know in me there is a deep desire to do that, to go completely offline. And yet it feels like there's all these obligations, whether they're social obligations or work obligations, that require me to be present and not go completely ghost mode. But that may be a limiting belief.
But you've moved from the other side of the world to Asia, to Bali.
Yes. Yes.
So there must have been a period already where you've done this, maybe unconsciously.
Definitely. When you move countries, you do leave behind a lot of the social ties and associations that were keeping you stuck in old patterns in your old environment. That's why moving is so powerful. It's a double-edged sword because you always bring yourself with you. So like you said, if there is any childhood stuff or things about your personality or your work ethic or your discipline, that's coming with you on the plane. So you can't outrun that. But the social influences of people of your old environment, that can be changed. And that is very powerful. And when I landed in Bali 3.5 years ago, I came with almost nothing. No YouTube, no podcast at the time, no personal brand, no real business at the time, a little bit of savings. And I had a mission. And I was going to lock in for the next 3 years. I was going to work and make it happen. It being my vision. I had a vision for what I wanted to build. And I feel like a big part of that vision I've completed in the last 3 years. I've built, there's more to build, absolutely. But I've laid the foundation. I've laid the bricks day after day, week after week. It's the work that no one sees. And we've talked about this before, that behind any success, there is hours and hours and hours of deliberations and trial and error and things that no one will ever know except you. So I guess I have been in ghost mode in some sense. The beauty of Bali as well is the social circles here, they're very conducive to work. Everyone here is working on their mission. Everyone here is working on themselves. So when you connect with people here socially, it energizes you. It doesn't distract you, at least for me.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It sounds like you've unconsciously done it. I mean, I feel like if you distance yourself from the city you were born in and from the people you grew up with or your friends in your city, if you distance yourself from all of it and just lock in, you've done the ghost mode. Like, I feel like most people don't do that. Most people, they live in the city they grew up in and they die in that city with the people they grew up with as well that may not even share like core morals or values, just people they knew by proximity, by just association, by growing up together, not of their conscious choosing. But you coming to the other side of the world, 100% you've unconsciously done it. And you're saying, I may not know or if it's right for me to do so right now because I have all these obligations and things. And it sounds like you've already laid the groundwork. So you may not even need it right now. Even if I talk for myself, I feel like I'm stepping out of it myself right now as well.
Yeah. There's a part of me that wants to totally disappear and just work on a book or work on the next project, the next course, but just completely go offline like the way you did. I know there's something powerful in that.
Well, you can do it in seasons, right?
Yeah.
Especially with a book. I think with a book, it's one of your aspirations, isn't it? Writing a book?
It is. It's been coming up in my consciousness more and more. And I think it was Cal Newport that had that famous thing of like just deleting every app off of his phone. And then he wrote, 5 books in 5 years or something. I might be getting the numbers wrong, but that sort of focus, I think the word focus really captures it. Single-minded focus. No social events, no parties, no, I'm going to go do this. It's like you have one goal and it's all you think about all day. You go to sleep thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. It's a very obsessive mode, but it's something I've experienced in spurts before and I love it. And I think there's a desire to come back to that. And I think you were experiencing that in your ghost mode.
Yes. There's a dark side to it as well.
Tell me about it.
I think you know the dark side, but you may have forgotten it. And I'll tell you about it. It's the loneliness. if you're in it long enough, you'll start craving social activities. You'll start craving, if I speak for myself, validation. Because for me, during ghost mode, I've seen a lot of people get recognition and get this validation. Whereas if you're on ghost mode, you're often the one that's underestimated, or you know what I mean? And I feel like it's a masculine desire maybe, or a human desire to crave like validation, especially if you know you've been working hard. So you'll have to suck that up. The loneliness, you'll have to suck that up. The demons you'll face, you'll have to suck that up. But there's an equal and opposite light side to that dark side as well, which is the results, the progress, the beauty you can create. Especially, I can imagine if you write a book and you show up every day to write this book.
Yeah. The validation piece is so interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's so powerful when we overcome that urge for validation, and when we can actually allow other people to underestimate us and not care about it because we know who we are deep down. And I've been practicing that. Like, you know, you walk into a room and people say, "What do you do?" And that little question, it's a way for most people to say, "I need to know your status to see how I'm going to place you in my mind."
And it's a question every man asks. I think it's a question men ask men all the time.
Yeah.
Women may not ask each other that.
I wonder.
But
I don't know.
men, it's like the first question you ask another man.
Totally. And if your answer is not flashy or compelling, you can see, oh, okay, they're placing me in a mediocre bucket. Like, meanwhile, I know my own successes. I know my numbers. I don't need to share it with that person to get that hit of dopamine.
Yeah.
Let them think that I am on this level. Meanwhile, I'm just going to work hard. I'm just going to keep grinding. And I have also noticed the few times where I have shared some sort of number or success. Like I remember hitting 1 million downloads, all-time downloads on my Neville Goddard podcast, where I share daily lectures from one of my favorite mystic teachers, Neville Goddard. And I posted it as a story, I think, on Instagram. And it's like got no reaction. And it's because your friends don't really care about that. And your customers don't really care about that either. They just want the value. They're like, give me the value. And your friends are too busy with their own lives. And so it's interesting. It's you really have to be satisfied with your own, validating yourself, knowing your own success, knowing your own strength, and never, ever, ever expecting anyone else to see that. If they do, that's great. Like I've had a great experience hosting 2 retreats, and I've gotten some very positive feedback from that, from the members that attended. But even there, you have to be careful to never place your self-worth on other people's praise.
I agree with you. And I think if you do so, if you do crave that validation, it's all ego. At the same time, ego is a fucking beast that's hard to tame. Like you're saying this, it all makes sense, but it's a fucking, especially if you have a big ego, sometimes it's hard to keep that motherfucker in check. And I'll tell you from my perspective, because I've run many YouTube channels, faceless channels, hit millions of subscribers, helped many people to the point where these channels get like a lot of emails thanking.
Yeah, you've got 1 million subs.
Yeah,
on one of your channels, and no one who meets you, randomly on the street would know that.
Yes, and
the amount of influence you have on 1 million men, because it's a male-dominated channel.
Yes, but that's when the male ego comes up. Like, wait, these people are grateful for overcoming depression and like sending emails like, hey, thanks to you, I almost wanted to kill myself, or this or that, or you got me on seed retention, or whatever it is. But there's no validation next to your name, and it's a tough one. I'm gonna be honest, it's a tough one, and
because it's a faceless channel, it's your creation, but your personal name is not on it, and that's tough.
Well, I have a personal channel.
Yeah, but it's a different entity.
And I've been inactive on my personal channel, but I think the toughest thing is that I've been in a lot of rooms with successful people. I've met a lot of people with big personal brands. Everyone out there, like big personal brands, I've met them in real life. And this may be the toughest thing for me, is that a lot of these people are not who they say they are. I feel like a lot of these motherfuckers are I'm trying to not pass judgment, but a lot of them I feel like they're just not the way they portray themselves to be.
What do you see as the biggest incongruencies between who they are as you see them and how they are online?
Man, I can get into this, bro. I've had interactions with people with millions of subscribers, good and bad, positive and negative, to the point where people, I'll give you an example. I had this guy, I won't name names, he was talking shit online. Yeah. Talking shit about my name online everywhere. Like, just spreading a bunch of BS online. And then I met him in real life. And he started laughing and started like greeting me. And I was like, I want to fuck this guy up, bro. and then I realized in an instant, just by eye contact, like, oh, this is just a gym bro with a big following online. And everyone looks at him like, oh, he's this and that. But in real life, it's just not the same thing. And where I come from, if you talk about another man, you better be willing to back it up when you meet him in real life. This is just one example, but I've met many people in real life and they fake a lot of stuff for content. And to circle this back to my point I'm making about validation, I don't want to talk like I'm better than everyone or whatever, but it just makes me think like these people get a lot of credit and validation while not being the way they present themselves. And it makes me want to step out of that ghost mode more and more too, because I feel like, well, I'm the realest motherfucker out here. Again, not to judge anyone but I genuinely do feel that way after meeting a lot of these people. I'm the realest motherfucker out here. And if I take this content game serious, if I step out of this ghost mode, if they're doing it, why not me? You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at right now.
The things that trigger us about the way others do business or the way they show up in the world is the exact gift for us to then step into our leadership and be the opposite of that, if that's what we believe. Are you pretty much ready to step into building your personal brand again, or is there something that still feels like a quest that needs to be completed before you fully dive into that?
I feel like I have to. Right now, I feel like I have to. For the longest time, I've been putting it off. You know yourself. You've asked me to do a podcast multiple times, and even that, I've been putting it off. For the longest time, I felt like I was almost in conflict with myself, where I make great money. I can make great money, probably for the rest of my life, not showing my face ever. But the honest truth is, I feel like if you can inspire others, I feel like that's almost the greatest thing you can do in this life. Inspire someone else. And so I'm at a point right now where I feel like I have to, in order to inspire others and in order to really make a mark, leave a mark. So that's where I'm at right now. You asked me, is there a quest I need to complete first? I'm about to do my first fight very soon. I can't name a date, but very soon. And
you've been training hard.
I'm training hard. I'm fully focused on that. I'm shooting content. And after this fight, I'm going to go all in and fucking take over, bro.
What was the inspiration, the inception for the fight? Because weren't you at a mastermind for entrepreneurs? And after the mastermind, the first thing that came to your mind was, I got to do this fight?
Yes. So, we have a mutual associate or friend. Friend's a big word, but William Brown, very successful guy online. He hosts masterminds, and I've been to two of his masterminds in a room full of high-level entrepreneurs. And as I was sitting there, I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, Musa, you made money. You hit 7 figures. You've done what you set out to do. And now you're in a room full of killers in business, people who exited their company for 15 million or whatever. People that are doing millions and millions and millions of dollars per year. But this thought came to mind, like, would you want to trade places with them? And the answer was no. And what I mean by that is I was in a room where there were people like 40 years of age, very successful in business, but they had no partner, they had no wife, they had no family, or they were out of shape, or they've never experienced a fight. And it just made me reflect, like, yes, I was taking notes in these masterminds. Yes, I was learning from the guys. Yes, I was talking to them in terms of business, but this little voice in my head was telling me, like, if you just keep making more and more and more and more and more money, and one day you're old, you're going to regret not doing X, Y, and Z.
I think every single person needs to hear that who's listening to this.
100, especially in the modern age, because I feel like
money is this flashy metric. It's easy to quantify. It's easy to see the scoreboard, but there are so many other scores that are invisible.
Well said, 100%. And I feel like it's almost getting easier and easier to earn money, you know? And if that's the only thing you're chasing, I mean, we all love making money. Don't get it wrong. I don't want to talk as if I'm above making money, you know? I'll make a lot of money still going forward, you know? I hope you too. I'm pretty sure you will do too. But it's like you said, it's not the only metric. And we're all unique individuals. And yeah, it's like, what are your own interests? And I performed this exercise I do, like, called writing a letter to my elderly self.
Do you have a number like in mind? 60-year-old self or 70-year-old self?
Older.
I'll
be fucking vital and strong at 60-year-olds, bro.
Beautiful.
Not like 90 years of age.
Yeah.
I write a letter to him and I tell him where I'm at, what I'm doing, and if I'm on the right path.
So it's your younger self writing to your older self.
Yes, my current self writing to my older self. And I feel like this older self, I step into him and I look at things from his perspective. And it takes imagination to do that. But I look at things from his perspective. So he receives this letter from me. And he's a man of few words, and he just tells me either I'm doing good, just keep on keeping on, or like, nah, you got to do this. The money will, and that's what he said in that case after the mastermind, like, oh, the money will come, don't worry about that. But if you grow up to be my age and you've never ticked this box of testing yourself in physical combat while you were a young man, you will regret it. That's what he told me. And the same for family. If you don't father more children, you will regret it. And so I took that with me. And yeah, here we are, gonna do my first fight. And yeah, that's it.
That is such a powerful exercise that everyone listening to this can do. Write a letter from your current self to your older self, and then step into the shoes of the older self and see, what does he think or what does she think about your life?
Yes.
And it's so clear, like, probably within the first 5 minutes, these insights were coming through of like, this is out of alignment, this is in alignment.
Instantly. Because for me, the older version of myself is, I picture him sitting on a rocking chair, and the only thing he cares about is his legacy and his family.
Yeah.
And so a lot of bullshit does not matter to him.
Yeah.
A lot of short-term, the shiny object syndrome we all may suffer from time to time or whatever, all that bullshit he does not care about. Little drama, little interactions with people who will not be relevant in your life, he does not care about. It's just, this is the path you need to follow, and that's it.
What is the biggest mental shift you've had to make in order to prepare for your upcoming fight?
I feel like I'm making mental shifts every single day, consciously. Fighting is there's beauty in fighting. Fighting is such an honest, or martial arts, it's such an honest mirror where it will show you all your limiting beliefs, all your physical limits. It'll show you everything. And I just look at this mirror, and whatever it shows me, I'm going to the mental lab. If it shows me like, hey, physically, oh, you're stiff in this hip. Okay. Now I need to work on this physically, but I also need to work on this mentally. Because if I tell myself I'm stiff in this hip, I'm keeping it that way. Where I need to step into the mental lab and almost, I don't want to say lie to myself, but that's almost what I got to do. Tell myself, oh, I'm loose in this hip. To reaffirm, to not keep that reality alive, if you know what I mean. So it's constantly going back to the mental lab. Constantly working on the subconscious mind as well. Yeah, there's a lot to it, bro, but it's something I'm doing every single day.
Can you share some of the techniques or principles that you've used to rewire your self-image, work with your subconscious, work with your imagination?
Yeah. In regards to fighting or in general?
In general, success in life, your self-image.
Yeah. So one thing I consciously do is I go to my mental lab and I watch my achievements as if I'm sitting in a theater, like the theater of my mind. I'm watching my achievements.
The Musa IMAX.
Yes. Put on the 3D glasses and get some popcorn. And I'm watching just progress I've made in the past, right? Achievements I've accomplished, but also progress I've made. Because everything I've ever done, I've started out at zero. We all do. And it'll surprise you how often we forget this, especially when you step into a new endeavor or when you're struggling with new challenges or whatever. How often we forget, like, there was a point in my life where I couldn't even tie my shoes, but I learned how to do that. There was a point in my life where I couldn't even speak English. I learned how to do that. There was a point in my life where I didn't even know how to make $1 online. I learned how to do that. There was a point in my life where I couldn't even throw a decent punch. I learned how to do that. And so whenever you face challenge and you feel like it knocks you down a little bit, I go to this mental lab and it puts me in a state. I'm watching these scenes over and over again, and it reminds me of that I'm basically in the process right now. I'm growing and I'm growing and I'm growing, and it boosts my confidence in a good way. Not in an arrogant way, but in a good way. It puts me in a good state.
Reviewing your past accomplishments.
Yes.
Sometimes you're on a momentum streak. Things are going so well, and you expect things to continue to go at the same pace. And then, for whatever reason, you go into a bit of a dip or a moment of learning, a moment of humbleness. How do you deal with moments like that?
Can you give me an example? Has this ever happened to you?
For me, in 2024 was a very successful year for me. I felt like I had accomplished a lot of the things I set out to do. And it really felt like 2025 was going to be a continuation of that. And 2025 has been like a really interesting year where it's surprised me and it's humbled me. And there's been moments of difficulty, moments of success as well. But some dark nights of the soul, I think. So I guess my question is, how do you, if you're going through a dark night of the soul, what's your personal way of moving through it?
I think there's two parts to answering this. The first one is in regards to momentum. I've told you this before, and I've heard this somewhere online. But momentum is like, it's like your best friend once you have it. Momentum. When momentum is on your side, bro, you'll move mountains. You do things you'd be surprised you can do. But momentum is also very jealous. It's like a best friend or a best lover, but it's also very jealous. The moment you stop giving it attention, it'll go to someone else.
I love how you put that.
Yeah, I got it from someone online, bro. Don't give me too much credit. I've heard it somewhere online, but it's true. And I've experienced this myself where I've maybe slacked off on momentum before.
Yeah.
And I saw it leave my side. And so the first way to answer your question is, when you have momentum, bro, don't ever let that shit go. Don't ever let that shit go. Put in all the work, because one day it will go. Even if you give it all the attention, one day it's just the nature of things.
Yeah.
So make the most out of it so that when it does leave you, hopefully you're fucking physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, and you may be relieved a little bit for momentarily. You know what I mean?
You've done everything you could with that moment.
Everything, yeah. So that's the first part to answer that. And the second part, if for some reason you did slack off, or if momentum does leave your side and you feel like you should have done more or whatever, or there's still more to do, just get back to it, bro. That's it. Just get back to it. Personally, if you're talking about like a dip or getting into a rut, what I like to do is I don't like to talk to people when I'm in that. I don't like to talk to anyone when I'm frustrated or when I'm in a rut. I don't like to talk to people. I feel like that's wasted energy. I put myself through voluntary suffering, so I get up early, I get in the ice bath, I get like a fucking hard, tough workout in, and that starts momentum going a little bit. Maybe not in terms of the results I'm looking for in business or whatever, but at least for myself. And I feel like that's where it starts. It starts with yourself, right? Then I start working, start doing my deep work, and I start doing this consistently. And then I get momentum again. I get momentum myself. And sooner or later, if you keep this up consistently, you'll get the snowball effect and it will happen.
Are there any core principles of success that have carried you through setbacks and to victories?
Yes. Consistency, maybe the biggest one. Just showing up. You have to show up no matter how you feel. You have to show up. That may be the most important one, honestly. Consistency. Is there I'm thinking right now, is there any other core principle other than just consistently showing up? Yeah, I think consistently showing up, and to circle back to reprogramming your subconscious mind or going to the mental lab, a combination of showing up and making sure you recognize you're doing good, you're in the process of things, you've done things, you've made progress in the past before, and putting yourself in that right frame of mind. Because just showing up for the sake of showing up, I feel like that's not enough. You got to show up with intention. You got to show up recognizing that what you're doing it for and making progress. So yeah, mentally show up, mentally go to the lab, make sure you recognize you are making progress, you're in the process right now, and then physically show up as well.
You've studied psycho-cybernetics.
Yes.
You've studied reality transurfing.
Yes.
Neville Goddard, Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Are there ways that you have used things you've learned from these books and other teachers to manifest your reality? So you've talked about analyzing your past successes, but what about pulling in a future vision?
Yes. So the technique I just told you about, theater of the mind, I got that from Psycho-Cybernetics. One of my favorite books. Amazing book on the self-image, reprogramming your self-image. And the same way you can play scenes from the past, you can play scenes from the future in this theater. And that's what I do as well. I play scenes from the future, but I watch it and I feel it as if it's already there. You see, people talk about visualization. I don't like to call it visualization. I call it sensualization. I want to feel it in every sense of my being. I'm watching that movie. I'm feeling it. I'm not just watching it with like the 3D IMAX glasses on. No, I am in that movie. I step into that screen. You know what I mean? I embody that feeling of whatever I'm going. And I really, to the point of delusion, other people may call me delusional, but I feel I am already there. Does that make sense?
Totally. Do you do this daily? Is there a specific practice you have every day, every week?
I feel like I've developed a sensitivity for being out of alignment with myself and being in alignment with myself. And I think this is key. The moment I feel out of alignment, even if a little bit, I go back to this theater of the mind. And there are days where I feel in perfect alignment and I'm just in the process and I don't need to revisit it. I am everything I want to be. I am whatever I set my eyes on. I am that.
You are the 2.0 self embodied.
I am that, yes. And then I don't need to revisit it. I'm just focusing on losing myself in the process. But whenever, life happens, whenever I get knocked out of that, or I feel like when facing obstacles or when facing challenges or when setbacks happen, that's when you can get knocked out of it. And you need to recognize it for what it is. Like, you need to develop a sensitivity for, I'm not in alignment with that self-image of where that 2.0, like you said, and then circle back to it right away. Spend time in your mental lab, in that theater. Go sit down in that theater and put yourself back there. And that's, develop a sensitivity for that.
One thing that I know many people struggle with is actually defining exactly what they want and choosing a vision that's worthy of their ideal. How would you advise someone to choose their vision, to design their vision for their future self? Because in this world, we have unlimited opportunities. There's 1,001 things we could pursue, and each one has an opportunity cost. How do you make those vital decisions about, I'm going to pursue this goal, I'm going to consciously not pursue this one to put all of my energy into this? What's your way of goal setting and designing the vision?
So this goes back to where we started, which is ghost mode. You shut off all the noise. You don't listen to people telling you, chase this, whatever, chase this Lambo, chase 100K a month, chase 1 million a month, there's so much noise out there. So the first thing is you shut everything off. And then I journal. And I spend time in solitude. And then some desires come up. And what I like to do is I explore these desires. So whatever the desire is, let's say it's I want a Lambo, just an example, yeah. Okay, I write it down and then I give myself 13, I have to give myself 13 whys, 13 reasons of why I want this. So let's say it's the Lambo. Okay, why do I want this? Well, I want to flex on people. Okay, why else do you want it? Well, I don't know. See what I did there? I can't come up with 13 whys. So it's not a deep desire. This may have been some influencer that's been telling me like, you got to get a Lambo.
I call them borrowed desires.
Yes, very well put. Borrowed desires. I like that. Yeah. And so if you keep doing this, you keep exploring your desires, some of them will come up where you can write down 13 reasons why, and maybe even more than that. And that's when you know, okay, this is not some borrowed desire, like you said. This is something that comes from me, from deep from within. So that's to answer your question. I feel like people don't do this enough. People don't explore their desires. You know what I mean?
100%. So I like that. First, put yourself in solitude, churn off all the outside influences, come back to yourself, to what your soul wants. Listen. This is why meditation can be so powerful as well. Just listening to your soul. What do I want? And then come up with 13. 13 is an interesting number. 13 reasons why you want it.
Yes, because I've just tested this for myself. It has to be at least 10. And you have to confirm, just confirm. Does this desire come from my soul?
Yeah.
And yeah, for some reason, 13 is like a good number that worked for me.
What is the deepest desire that comes from your soul that you are working on now or in the near future, if you'd like to share? Or shall we keep it a secret?
Let's keep it a secret.
There's power in secrecy too, right? There's power in holding the vision close to your chest and letting it simmer inside without diluting the energy by sharing it.
Yes. I feel like if there's something you really want to share, like your deepest desire, your biggest goals, your whatever it may be, if there's something you really want to share and you share it with people, you get a dopamine hit and you feel like a loss of drive, a loss of energy.
Yes.
Simultaneously, if there's something you really want to share and you don't share it with people, you keep to yourself, you don't share it with people, then the only way to show them is by action, by getting it.
It's a little bit like semen retention, but desire retention. So you're retaining your seed, but you're also retaining the energy of the desire.
Yes,
so it can be channeled.
Everything is energy. There's no such thing as talking and sharing and putting things out there without a loss of energy. With seed retention, it's the same thing. There's no such thing as exerting this energy and everything stays the same. No, you just changed your fucking baseline. So I believe in some things you should keep to yourself.
Let's talk about spirituality, God, and the mystical. What's your relationship with the divine? How has it grown stronger over the years? And maybe we can also dive into some of your mystical experiences.
The more I accomplished, the stronger my faith got, which is interesting because I believe I heard somewhere that people that come from the bottom, or poor people, or people that are in poverty or struggling, they tend to have the strongest faith because it's all they can fall back on if you don't have anything. For me, it was kind of the opposite. The more I like when I was broke, I was desperate, bro. I was willing to do crazy things I'm not even proud of saying. Like the things that came to my mind, I never want to be desperate. I'll never be desperate again, bro. But as I started accomplishing more, my faith grew stronger and stronger. My gratitude grew stronger and stronger. And I don't know, I started praying more and developing my relationship with God. And yeah, I feel like my faith is in a good place right now.
How do you pray?
I always pray from a state of gratitude. And so when I pray, first of all, I feel like God is everything. So if you don't have anyone to talk to and you talk to God, God can be a father figure for you. He can be a brother. God can be a friend. Like you can talk to God about everything. But when you ask me, how do I pray from a state of gratitude. This may sound weird, but I don't ask in prayer. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't ask in prayer. I am thankful for the things that are yet to come, but in my mind, they're already there. They're already there. I know it. I know it 100%.
Yeah.
And that's how I pray. I pray for the things I already have that I'm grateful for, but I also pray for the things that are yet to manifest themselves.
Reminds me of Neville Goddard. I think he talks a lot about this as well, of being in gratitude for what has yet to come as if it's already here. And it's also evidence of your faith, right? You're so faithful to your vision and to God helping you provide that vision into reality that it is done in your mind.
Yes. And if for some reason it doesn't turn out the way I would like it to turn out or whatever, then there's always something better coming. I feel like if my plans don't turn out the way I wanted my plans to turn out, it's because God has something better in store for me, and it always turns out that way.
It's a redirection, not rejection. Or the other way I like to think of it is the thing I'm asking for, maybe I need to grow stronger to be ready to receive it. And so God is protecting me by not giving me the thing right away but actually helping me work on the aspects of me that need to be stronger before that comes into my life.
Yes.
So you've sat with mushrooms for the first time last year?
You're exposing me now, bro.
How has your experience with the mushies shifted your perspective on who you are or what life is?
I don't know about you, but the one thing, I've done mushrooms a few times, and the one thing that comes up for me when I do mushrooms is that everything is connected. Everything, absolutely everything is connected. What has it done for me? It's interesting because every time you do a mushroom trip, you'll see different things. So it has done many things for me. One of the things it's done for me is it has shown me that a lot of people put on a front or they put on a mask, but it has shown me this without judgment of them. Like I could almost see through them to the point where I could see, oh, like it sounds trippy, but we're talking about mushrooms, but I could see where the insecurity came from, and I would feel like I would feel not bad for them, but like, hey, I hope you get through this without any judgment. Because again, it shows you we're all connected, so I can't judge you. You know what I mean? You have your own story.
You're part of the same fabric as them.
We're all made of the same thing. If we're talking about our soul, you know what I mean? And I guess it just makes me more calm, knowing that, we're all connected, more loving maybe, less judging, for sure less judging of others.
Do you feel like it's deepened your relationship with God or connected you deeper to something mystical?
I do because once you see that everything is connected, you'll recognize the beauty in it.
Yeah.
You recognize the beauty in the plants, in the animals, in the trees, and in humans, and the way everything is connected. Yeah, you can't help, or at least for myself, I can't help but feel so much love and gratitude to the amazing creation that is all around us and the creator that has put everything in place.
The intelligence behind everything is
Yes.
breathtaking.
Mm-hmm.
Before your very first trip, do you remember what your expectations were and what was revealed to you in the first trip that surprised you or delighted you?
In my first trip, I just found out that I had like an alter ego. And my intention for the trip is I had an alter ego that helped me make my first million. But the moment I made this money, he was gone. Like the aggression, the hunger from where it was gone. It was almost like I set the intention to make 7 figures and I just switched into a different mode, a mode that did not give a fuck about anyone, did not give a fuck about loneliness, did not give a fuck about social activities, just was single-minded on this objective. And the moment I reached this objective, he was gone. And it was like I reverted back to my old self. Now all of a sudden I started craving like social interactions and contacts with old people, and I started fucking unblocking people that I blocked and whatever. and I started missing him. I was like, wait, I'm this peaceful guy now, and I know I may sound crazy when I'm saying this, but it's true, man. I started feeling like, where's this guy? How can I get him back? And I tried everything. I read books on it. I meditated on it. I tried everything, but I could not get him back. And then that's for the first time when I was like, let me try it with mushrooms. And you provided me with the first mushroom trip, which was amazing. And this trip just gave me the answers to that.
What did you see in it that revealed the answer to you?
It was a very interesting trip. So I had some music on, I was in solitude in like a villa, and I was journaling. And during this mushroom trip, I was writing about, like, I was almost desperate to get this guy back, because I felt like he had all the aggression, all the fire, and I needed that. And I was journaling while I just took the mushrooms. Like, okay, let me meet my alter ego. How can I get this guy back? And it was like the mushrooms were writing back to me. It was such a trippy experience where, like, I don't know if it was the mushrooms or my subconscious or whatever. It was writing back to me like, don't worry about it. And it kept telling me, dance to your own rhythm. Dance to your own rhythm. And I had music on, and at some point, it's like, okay, let me just listen and surrender and do it. And I just started to dance to the music, and I felt so euphoric. I felt amazing. And then you lose some perception of time when you're on mushrooms. So hours had passed, and I've been dancing for hours, bro. And then I was like, wait a minute. I wanted to meet my fucking alter. What the fuck am I doing? So I walked back to my journal, and I started writing, and like, wait, hey, let me meet my alter ego. And it told me, you don't understand yet. Keep. When I said it told me, it's like I'm writing back to myself without a conscious thought. You don't understand yet. Dance to your own rhythm. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. Let me go again. And I start dancing, and I feel loose, bro. And I feel like I'm dancing off all the bullshit and whatever. And like and then at one point I went back again. I felt like I was done dancing, but not in a way where I was desperate to, oh, let me meet my alter ego. No, that was done. I just felt good. And I remember I walked calmly over to my journal again, and I didn't feel like writing right away. I just looked at what I wrote, and then I grabbed the pen, and it was like it started writing back to me. Like, oh, you're ready now. You understand your own rhythm. Now tap into his rhythm. Which was fucking trippy. I didn't know what that meant. And so I started asking, like, okay, what's that? Hatred, ? And it crossed it. No, not hatred. Anger, ? It crossed it. And then it wrote suppression. And I was like, huh. And it brought me back to COVID, because in COVID I felt suppressed. And this circles back to the beginning of our conversation, where my core value is freedom. And anything that crosses that core value makes a different side of me come out. I did not understand this in the time of the trip. I had no idea. I didn't even know that freedom was my core value at the time of this trip. But I tapped into that suppression. Like I reminded myself of things that would make me feel suppressed in childhood, that would make me feel suppressed in COVID, all these things. And it felt like I switched in a different mode. Very interesting. And I felt like I became him. And now he started dancing. And interestingly enough, the music changed into a more, I don't know if it was aggressive, but a different type of tune. And he started dancing, but he was shadowboxing, and he was moving fiercely. And it was like I could watch him from a third person perspective. But I saw the beauty in it. It was like, oh, this is not just someone that's angry or like stiff and has hatred or whatever. He has his own reasons for being the way he is, and I could recognize the beauty in it, and I could appreciate it. And that's what the first mushroom trip gave me. I got to meet this guy, and it was a beautiful experience.
Wow. There's so much in that I see. The suppression piece, it's like the contrast of life, of being suppressed, of not being your freedom. It's like this catapult that is like straining you back, and when you let go, you go all the way to the other side. You're on fire. You have a single-minded focus. I am going to go straight towards the opposite of that. Pure freedom.
Yes. And this alter ego side is an extreme version as well, to the point where he's willing to lose his life in the process. Like, it's a very extreme and a very dark side, where it's not just, oh, an alter ego, it sounds cool. No, he's willing to die for this shit.
What is your view of alter egos and using an alter ego to tap into different states? Is there a true version of you? Is that the peaceful version of you? Or is the alter ego the true version of you? Are they both true versions? I'm so curious how you perceive that.
Honestly, I am not sure. There was a point where I thought he was the true version of me, because he does not give a fuck about social interactions. He does not give a fuck about opinions of others. He will do what he has to do to get where he wants to get to. And it felt so pure. Like imagine someone coming up to you and wanting to engage in small talk, and you don't give a fuck, and you don't engage in it. And the person is, you can see they're kind of judging you, or it's like awkward, and you don't even give a fuck about the awkwardness. It's such a pure thing.
You're so centered in yourself.
Yes, it's so pure. So there was a point where I thought he was the true version of me. But then there's a side of me that loves spending time with family, community. And that's no lesser version than him.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's two sides. There's the light and the dark, and maybe they both make you whole. And I feel like a lot of people, they run away from that dark side.
Right.
I think maybe it's a combination of both.
Honoring both.
Yes.
Stepping into Musa killer mode, stepping into Musa father mode, stepping into Musa friend mode, whatever the context demands of you.
Yes, and athletes are very familiar with this alter ego. I feel like any good athlete, if you ever watch a documentary or watch an interview, or even you watch them perform and you watch interviews before, like they perform or whatever, they're chilling, and then it's game day, whether it's basketball, whether it's fighter, whatever it is, you'll see a switch in their eyes. And fighters have talked about this a lot, like they switch into a different mode.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very real thing, yeah.
I find it interesting to see that in performers, artists, musicians, especially early on in their career. They're so in that, the image they've created, the alter ego. Like Lady Gaga comes to mind. Her first 3 albums were just on another level. And I feel it's because she embodied the myth of Lady Gaga, the alter ego of Lady Gaga, to such a degree that the work really benefited from that. And I think, I'm just guessing here, but as you continue living, the alter ego gets a little bit diluted with other people's perceptions, with your own mixing of energies, and you may lose that thread, that golden thread of that pure energy, that frequency, unless you protect it.
I think the most powerful thing you can do is build some relationship with it. I like to think of, you don't watch anime, do you? There's this anime called Naruto, and there's a few characters that have like a beast sealed within them, but they cannot control it, and it's sealed away. And if enough things happen, the beast may break free, and it can wreak havoc on everyone, and it's a danger for everyone. But then there was one guy who spent a lot of time on building a relationship with this beast, and he mastered it, and he could work together with him. It's called the 8 Tails Killer Bee, if anyone ever watched Naruto. But he had a beautiful relationship with this beast, and he could switch on and off. And what you said about I don't know anything about Lady Gaga, but losing that, I feel like if you don't build a relationship with it, and if you don't know what triggers it and how to summon it, and that can surely happen. But because of this mushroom trip, because it showed me how to tap into suppression, I can always summon it, I feel. If I really, really, it's not just one thought. If I really live in that state of feeling suppressed and going back to my childhood with certain things, and I really feel it, it will come out. And in competition as well. Like sometimes not even suppression, sometimes in competition it comes out as well.
It's fascinating. So using your pain from the past to tap into a deeper state of drive and fire and ambition and desire.
Yeah.
Because the other thing I noticed was when you first set the goal to hit 7 figures, it's such a clear, specific goal. And I find that when I have a very clear, specific goal, it taps me into a different state. The more specific it is, and the more single-minded I am, I'm in this different zone. And then as soon as you achieved it, it's almost like your subconscious mind or your conscious mind said, cool, mission accomplished.
I'm back.
And you take your foot off the gas pedal. And
yeah.
what I've heard from, I don't know if it was Jim Rohn or Brian Tracy or some teacher, of as soon as you hit the peak of the mountaintop, immediately set the next peak. Because if you don't, you're going to start walking back down the mountaintop.
Yes, I had to learn this the hard way.
Yeah.
100%. So do you feel like you have like an alter ego as well? A different side to you? Like, do you actually, you said you switch into this mode. Do you actually feel like there's a personality difference as well?
I haven't named it necessarily, but I definitely feel that there are a couple modes that I can switch into. And you've even noticed it, like when I step into podcast mode.
Yeah.
Even my voice modulates slightly differently. I feel like everyone has that gift, and everyone is doing that. And a great example of that is who you are with your girlfriend is not who you are with your parents when you go home for Christmas. It's a different, it's still you, but you're tapping into a different aspect of your being.
I know what you're saying. I'm not sure if that's the same thing though. Well, I know what you're saying. You're not the same with your parents and you're not the same with your friends. You put on like a different hat. But I feel like this alter ego is like even deeper than that, bro. You know, like what you said with Lady Gaga. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard, I've heard Beyonce talk about this. Because her alter ego, she called it Sasha Fierce. And she grew up, I believe, singing in church or whatever. And so for her to dance half naked on stage was like a complete contradiction with everything she stood for, or everything she believed, what her entire identity. And she had to step into a side of her that, I mean, she called it fierce, that really did not give a fuck. And that's what when I think about alter ego, that's what I think. Like, imagine your family's being held hostage. Your eyes would switch to a different mode.
You're right.
Like a primal, there's a primal, and I'm not talking about just a different head, like, oh, I'm with my friends now and I'm with my family now. Like a primal switch.
Yes.
Where you will just do everything to get to the objective.
Yes. This is actually something I want to explore deeper. I feel the truth of your words, and I feel like I've tapped into that state once or twice in my life. And it's like what you said, when you lost it after earning 7 figures and you tried everything to get back to it. I think that's what I want to learn, is like, how does one activate it? And I think you've given us a clue here in this podcast. You look at the pain or the contrast and you use that as leverage to tap into a deeper state.
Yes, I guess it circles back. Again, a lot of things we're talking about now circle back to how we started this conversation. Your core values. What was that void that led to that core value? And often there's pain there. And then sometimes it's about reopening those wounds. Oh, you healed from those wounds. That's cool. That's cute. Well, let's rip them open. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, this is so fascinating to me. The alter ego. Talk to me about your view on ambition and the burning fire within you. What drives your ambition?
Those same 3 core values, brother. So freedom, growth, and family. Then there's also an aspect of feeling looked down upon, feeling underestimated, feeling neglect. I guess that's also a void, you know, a void, being devoid of recognition, being devoid of respect to an extent, and wanting the exact opposite of that. You know, wanting, craving that recognition, craving like fucking, like, bro, it's weird with me, bro. I remember faces of people looking down on me. It's like, it's stored in my mind like the eyes of people looking down on me. These people didn't even need to say a word. Like, okay, noted. And a lot of ambition comes from that too.
So paradoxically, you think if you actually healed those wounds, you would lose some of the ambition.
I would not lose anything, bro. I would rip those wounds open again, remind myself of that fucking shit, bro. I can heal of anything, but if I need fuel, I'm willing to feel to feel that pain, because it doesn't feel nice. Honestly, it doesn't feel nice if, like, let's say you have someone that's further ahead than you. It sounds easy and it sounds simple, all the things I'm saying, but let's say there's actually someone that's further ahead than you on the ladder, yeah? Someone that has everything you want and more. And he looked at you like you're not shit. And now you healed. You feel good, like you feel comfortable with yourself. Like, oh, I'm not in competition with anyone, which to an extent, that's very true. You're in competition with yourself. You feel good. You don't need to be feeling those negative emotions. You don't need to be thinking about this person. Why the fuck, if you're sane, would you then rip open those wounds and remind yourself, like, now this motherfucker looked like I'm a piece of shit? So it sounds all simple and whatever, but to sit in that pain and remind yourself, like, this guy's further ahead than me, and he looked at me like I'm not shit. Yeah, those things are things that fuel my ambition.
Just going back to the alter ego, because I find that so fascinating. Do you think there's a risk of losing yourself in the alter ego? Or is it actually something you would want to permanently step into that mode and stay there?
There 100% is a risk of losing yourself in it, and I've experienced it. That's the thing I haven't figured out yet, how to switch it off once I'm in that. And for me, when I was chasing those 7 figures, I did not talk, or I barely spoke to family for, what is it, a year and a half, 2 years. Friends, I blocked, which makes me sound like a bad friend, but I mean, I guess they weren't really real friends in the first place. I'm talking about people I grew up with, and I realized, like, oh wait, we don't share any core values or morals or whatever. But the thought of switching out of that, like, didn't even occur to me. It's like, I'm not thinking like I'm thinking right now. So it's a dangerous thing. And I haven't fully mastered it yet. I've learned how to summon him, but it's dangerous. Like, if I'm with family and I really summon him, it sounds fucking brutal what I'm about to say. I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, I do not give a fuck. Not like he's not ruthless to family or whatever, but I do not give a fuck about being away from them at that point. You know what I mean? Which is, it's a tough thing right now. If I say it right now, I do not want that. So there's certainly a risk, yeah.
I feel like this is something you could deeply explore once you get back into your personal channel. These sort of topics are so fascinating, so interesting, and you have experience in that directly.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things that I'm almost most interested in is just the power of imagination, the use of imagination. And I guess this is part of it, isn't it?
You're someone who has really trained his imagination and uses it truly, I think, in the way Neville Goddard talked about it. Deeply, consistently using it to mold your reality and who you are.
Imagination is everything, bro. It really is. It's everything. Everything you see around you was once someone's imagination. Like, everything you've done, you've come from the other side of the world here, and everything you've built here and you're doing very well, it all started in your imagination. And so, knowing that, how can you not be fascinated by it?
I think about this a lot. Like you said, every single thing that I physically have manifested in my life, it came from the mental seed, the idea. It was nothing but a thought, a feeling, and perhaps a knowing that it could be done. And then brick by brick, it becomes reality. Is there one, I know we've talked about this briefly, but is there one manifestation technique that you would like to leave the listener with that they can apply in their life to get their desire?
One manifestation technique or advice or practical tip is, honestly, and I think this is the best tip I can give you, is to find a way to be in that state of what you desire. And so what do I mean by this? You have affirmations, you have visualization, you have name another technique. What else do you have? What do people do?
Falling asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled.
Falling asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled. You have all these things. Yeah.
The eavesdropping technique, hearing someone's voice imply that you've achieved something.
At the end of the day, all it is putting yourself in the state of being what you desire. And whatever it is, whatever way you use to get in that state, it does not matter. Some people pay hypnotists thousands and thousands of dollars to get in that state. So some people look in the mirror, they tell themselves affirmations. Some people, they pray, like I like to pray. Some people, they don't even think about it at all. They're unconsciously, they're in that state and they're just working. You know what I mean? It does not matter. Find what works for you and feel yourself. Again, I use the word sensualize, like not just visualize. Don't just use your vision, like feel it in every fiber of your being, whatever method you use to do it. And then lose yourself in the process. That's it. That's all there is to it. And I mean, there's this saying in the Bible where God says, I believe to Adam, be fruitful and become something. Slips my mind. Be fruitful and become.
Be fruitful and multiply?
No, yeah, it's after that. So be fruitful and become ... and then multiply, subdue the earth, and have dominion over the living creatures and the sea and whatnot.
So it says, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
And so what does that mean? If you just look at what that means, God says be first, you have to be. Then what is multiplying or subduing? It's something you do. Be, do, have. And if you follow that formula, you be something first. The being takes care of the doing takes care of the having. Be, do, have.
Wow. So true. Become the person first. That informs the sort of actions that person would take naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And the actions give you the result.
Yes.
And so many people reverse that. They said, I need to have the money first. I need to have the subscribers first. I need to have this first to be.
Yes.
But that's a false god.
And that's why it eludes them. That's why it runs away from them.
Yes.
Look at the state you're in. You're focusing on like getting the fruit. You know what I mean? Getting the fruit without being the farmer. Be the farmer. If you are the farmer in every sense of your being, you will do the work of a farmer naturally. If you do the work of the farmer naturally, sooner or later, you will reap the fruits. That's it.
I love that. Beautiful. Brother, couple final questions on brotherhood, fatherhood, and legacy. You mentioned those were not my real friends at some point in your life. What do you look for in true friendship?
Well, first of all, I think almost everyone has friends. I mean, this was me, has friends based on we've met each other at some point. Maybe we were in a class together, maybe we went to the gym together, but that's just
context.
Yeah, like you've met by proximity. You've met by being in a certain environment at a certain time, and you've met each other doing a certain activity. But look deeper, like what is the foundation upon which your friendship is built? Is it just going to the gym together? Because guess what? If you take away this building block, well, the entire friendship crumbles. Is it just, we used to game together, play video games. Okay, take away the video games. If that's the foundation, boom, the friendship crumbles. Is it just, he's funny? I'll take away the humor aspect, friendship crumbles. And that's what happened with me during COVID. I realized I had friends based on, we played video games together. I had friends based on, we had some workouts together. But then during COVID, when a lot of people turned into a fucking chicken wing, they were afraid of meeting up and hanging out and whatever. that's when I started to question things like, okay, wait, if I can't do these activities with them, there's not really a friendship, is there? And especially if they listen to the government. This is I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but if they listen to the government about, oh, you can't hang out, and then the government lift these mandates, and now you're reaching out to me like we cannot, it's like, okay, our friendship is based on a third party now. Okay, so, and it really forced me to think. And now I'm in a place where I feel like you gotta have some alignment in some foundational building blocks. You gotta have some morals, a moral code.
Core values.
Core values, a moral code. Well, core values, honestly, core values, I feel like a lot of people conflate the two, morals and core values, because my core value may be freedom, your core value may be going on adventures or whatever it is. You may have a completely different core value than me, and we can still be friends. That's something people don't understand. We can still be friends, but I feel like morals more than everything. Like even if you value something else more than I value it, that's fine. But what about your moral code? How will you act in front of my wife or in when I'm not around? You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. It's like the integrity piece, the truth piece.
Yes. So I feel like you got to live by a moral code as a man and have like a solid foundation of building blocks in your friendship. And for me, I do value and appreciate ambition in my friends because it keeps me sharp. Loyalty, ambition. And that's it. And from there we can build, we can go.
How has becoming a father transformed you?
Man, what is the answer to this question, bro? How has a father transformed me?
In what ways has it strengthened you or softened you or shifted you?
It has developed or unlocked like a new level of love inside of me, which I did not know I had before I had kids. Like I'm willing to die for someone else other than myself. I'm willing to give everything for someone else other than myself. That may be the deepest one. And another beautiful thing about parenthood in general is that it connects you with your own inner child. When you're playing with your kid, it brings you, it's a beautiful thing. There's nothing can beat it. It brings you back to this playful state. And in a way, it can make you more creative as well, more playful as well. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, bro. A very underrated thing. I feel like, especially on the internet, you got a lot of these channels, like masculinity channels and whatever, and they all talk about dating and picking up as many women as possible. And you don't hear many people talking about raising kids or raising a family or fatherhood. I feel like it's the pinnacle of being a man. I feel like you live for someone else other than yourself. What beats that?
Yeah, as a society, I think we've really understated the importance of family. And I just recall recently seeing a Twitter post of the true wealth is, and there's a picture of a dad and a mom and a bunch of kids. You know, that's the true wealth.
Yeah. And again, it's without passing judgment, because I know some people don't value it. Some people value business or this or that. So for me, I value it a lot. Yeah.
If your children could inherit one lesson from you, what would you want it to be?
One lesson.
One truth, one lesson, one way of living.
You can be anything you want to be. That's it. You can be anything. I would love to say a bunch of things, but you're telling me one, so I would say you can be anything you want to be, if you're willing to work for it. Yeah.
Let's talk about legacy. What do you want to be remembered for when all is said and done?
I want to be remembered by my kids for being the best father they ever had. Which is not a title you can give yourself. You cannot say, I don't believe you can say I am a good father. The fruits will show it.
Wow. That's deep, bro.
So that's one of the biggest part of my legacy. I want to leave good fruit here, and the other part is I want to inspire people.
Inspire them in what?
I mean, like yourself, one of my ambitions is to write a book. What it's going to be about, I don't know yet. But I mean, you're a reader like I am, and you know the value of books. You know you talk about Neville a lot, how much respect you have for this guy and how much he taught you. Imagine you can leave an impact like that on others.
Yeah, the beauty of a book is you're distilling years of wisdom into a few hundred pages, and you're getting to read that essentially for free, someone's inner workings of their mind. And I think our ambition is to share something as valuable as that, to distill all of our lessons and knowledge and experience in life, the setbacks, the victories, and distill it into the essence, the pure essence, so that someone can read our mind in 100 pages.
And it outlives you. A book outlives you, just like your child outlives you, hopefully. Knock on wood, hopefully. I heard Robert Greene say something very interesting, where he's like, I believe he's writing a new book right now. You've read some of his books or no?
I've listened to some of his interviews.
So he said, between every project, there's like 300 to 400 books he reads.
Wow.
And it makes sense, bro, because if you read a lot, you'll be able to make connections and get creative ideas.
Totally. And it's what you told me earlier, long time ago, about how behind every high performer, there's layers and layers and layers of, how did you put it? It was so beautifully said.
How did I put it? Like the unseen work or something? Or
yeah, like what you see on the surface of someone's success. Let's say a great fighter that you admire. Behind that, there's these subtleties and intricacies that have led them to where they are today that we don't get to see.
Yeah. I don't know how I put it back then, but I agree with you, bro.
Well, Musa, it's been an amazing conversation. I've deeply enjoyed this, and I deeply appreciate your time. If there's one transmission or thought or truth that you want to leave the listener with, feel free to state it now.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And if there's one thing, just chase your dreams. You're everything you want to be. Chase your dreams, work hard for it, and you'll reap the benefits.
Beautiful. Thank you, brother. You've been listening to the James Xander Trip with special guest Musa. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and to stay in touch behind the scenes, go to jamesxander.com to subscribe to our exclusive newsletter. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.